Question for you. What's better than potatoes?
More potatoes.
There you go. What you doing?
Cutting comfrey back to give to the animals and give us some room for the potatoes. Got a lot of comfrey in here that came up, and I've been waiting to cut some of it back because I want to use a lot of this for fertilizer as well as animal feed.
Hey friends, good morning. Welcome back to the Renewed Homestead. It's another beautiful day in the shade because it's going to be 80 degrees and warm and maybe some rain.
A lot better than it has been.
Oh, mamma mia, this last week was something. But anyway, so we're taking the opportunity to get out here and dig up our potatoes.
Before the rain comes.
Before the rains, yes. Now, as we did last year, we put these in straw. This was, you might recognize, this was the corn garden last year. And so we dug down a little more of a furrow, put the potatoes in, and then we piled up the straw. Now, as you know from our previous video, and if you haven't watched it, you should go back and watch it, and now watch this one. But we did cover it up with straw, and
got an amazing amount of potatoes last year and the year before.
Yeah, you saw it.
It's been an amazing method, and the straw feeds the soil, so it's kind of a win-win.
Oh yeah, this soil in here is just amazing. It's already getting really nice and black and really beautiful. There are a lot of weeds in here, which tells us
the straw is safe.
Yep.
The straw that we put in here was safe. Now remember, you know, we had been getting straw from this place for a couple of years, never had any problems. We didn't realize that they had gotten straw from another supplier because they had run out, killed a lot of our plants, unfortunately. It really hindered the season.
That other straw had been sprayed with something, and
yes,
we replanted, multiple times.
Three times I had to replant the squash. 3 times I had to replant the beans. We had to replant some tomatoes.
Yeah.
So it's just been a rough year
Yeah.
for that, on top of the fact that June was really cold, and then we've had all the smoke from the Canadian wildfires. So we really don't know.
Or something.
Oh yeah. So we really don't know what to expect under the straw. Now I have dug up some potatoes already for dinner, but we haven't really gotten in here to really see what our harvest is this year. And I'm really curious. Is it going to be a good harvest, or you know, it's just been a really weird year. You know, I mean, our tomatoes have been sitting on the vine for weeks, green, not ripening. And I know we're not the only ones. So
everybody else we've talked to has had the same problem. They'll get 1 or 2 that'll ripen, and the rest are just sitting there green. But
yeah, so you know, we're gonna try. Thank you so much, Frankie boy, for the tip. We're gonna try it. He recommended, just quick side note, get a cardboard box, layer tomatoes, newspaper, newspaper if they haven't ripened yet. Right. And he said that will ripen them and doesn't make them mushy. They're still really great. So if in the next couple weeks we're not seeing that happen, and we'll do a video on it because there's some other things we're going to do to try to force that process. We're going to do a video on it. But thank you, Frankie boy, for that tip. We're going to try it if we don't see ripening in the next couple weeks.
Yep, we appreciate that. Now, this isn't our only potatoes. A lot of these were ones that, you know, from last season we'd put down in the trash can root cellar. A lot of those started sprouting roots by the time we were ready to get to them. So, planted some here, planted a few patches in the food forest, so there are other potatoes growing around.
But this is our main.
Yeah, this is the main thing. So let's get digging. Which, by the way, what are you going to use?
I got my hori knife, and if you don't have a hori knife, renewedhomestead.com/shop, get you one of these. It's actually the only thing I use now. But it's really the only. It's the only thing I use in the garden, really, to dig, to plant, to create furrows. It's, yeah.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. But, all right, let's get to pulling up and see what we've got. Another good one.
There's a good one.
Ooh, that's a great one.
latest thing going on is electroculture. And we had some copper wire, and we've stuck it in a number of places, and we'll talk about that in a future video. But there's a piece I stuck in here when we planted the potatoes, just out of curiosity. So I'm gonna pull up around the base of that and see if they're any different than any of the other potatoes.
Well, now to be fair, that is very short.
That's true. That's true. I mean, if you go by the
we bought the book.
Yeah, we got the book. If you go by the book, you're supposed to have it curled up, and it's supposed to be something like 7 feet tall with at least a foot of that copper wire in the ground to pull in those electrical charges from the atmosphere and into the plant. So this is just a shorty, but that's a nice one. Yeah. But let's see if we get anything different from here. Nothing different in there. Ooh, look at this soil, though. Look at this.
Wow. Show that.
Look at that soil. It's just coming apart. Oh. Man. Potatoes like growing in that. Look at that. Look. Well, all right. Well, pardon the messy shop, but we don't have a garage, and
our house is still under renovation. One of these days
so
it'll get done.
One of these days. But anyway, so we have to cure our potatoes.
Yes.
And this was formerly a plant
seed starting shelf.
And now it's being repurposed yet again to put out our potatoes. And we do that by...
Well, we're basically going to put them on here. Just brush off some of the dirt. Don't wash them. You're going to set them on here. You're going to wait till the skin gets a little hard, a week to 2 weeks typically, and then we'll be able to store our potatoes. Now, one thing I want to show you, so this has got a little green on it. A lot of people panic about it. I don't worry about it. What happens is if it's exposed to sun, the skin will turn a little green. This is caused by chlorophyll, but there is a toxin called solanine that potatoes can develop when they get this too much solanine in the potato when there's green on the skin. We just cut it off. It's not a big deal. Now, I'm not a doctor. No. Use your own best judgment. But if you see green on a potato, I don't worry about it. I still cure it. We don't have a lot of green on these potatoes, but it can happen if you leave it on the counter where sun can get to it, or if it just got a little bit above the ground. I think the straw just got pulled away a little bit and it got a little green. Not a big deal. We'll cure it. And then when we're ready to use it, I'll just cut that green off. Not a big deal.
Yeah. Probably don't want to eat a whole bucket full of green potatoes. That
would
probably not be a good idea.
Now again, don't wash them. Just brush the dirt off. Let them cure. We'll wash them when we bring them in to eat them. And we'll let them cure. Now, I have gone into the garden and grabbed potatoes, so you don't have to let them cure before you use them, but you want to let them cure before you store them. And that way they can store for several months over winter. Yep. So we're just going to go ahead and get these all brushed off and on here. And you typically want to do this in a place that's free of sunlight and a place that's a cooler place to be. We'll have all the windows open and all the doors open so the fresh breeze can come in. But a cool, dark place is typically where you want to cure them. Hey, I'm just grateful. We didn't have as bumper of a harvest as we did last year, but we still have a lot. And as weird of a year as this has been and all the struggles we've had, I'm grateful that we got what we got. Yep. And we still have more that'll come in a few weeks that we'll be able to.
I planted some in a bucket. My daughter was doing that in Arizona, and so I thought, well, let's try it here, and those things took off like crazy. So
now, one thing you want to make sure that there is plenty of airflow around the potatoes. So that's why we've got them on a rack. So they've got air above, they've got air below. Make sure they've got plenty of air when you're curing them.
All right, well, the potato garden is open for business, and the chickens and turkeys are working at it already.
Yes.
Getting it ready for next season. And
dirt.
You've been harvesting taters.
What's taters, precious?
Yes.
So, anyway.
My favorite, by the way.
Yes. That's to say, nothing, the only thing better than potatoes is more potatoes.
More potatoes.
But the origination of that is from my grandfather. The only thing better than chocolate is more chocolate. But I opted for a carrot cake, homemade carrot cake for my birthday, and it was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Glad you enjoyed it.
I did, and there's still a half of one in there.
Yep. You got a lot of cake to eat.
I do.
You eat far more sugar than I do, so you have at it.
Well, I got to keep up my girlish figure.
I'm trying to lose my girlish figure.
Maybe we should thin slice some of that carrot cake and put it in the freeze dryer.
Ooh.
Yeah, that might be good.
That might be a good experiment, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've lost 25 pounds, so I'm still
You're looking good.
getting a little more. But one of the reasons we love planting in straws, y'all saw it's super easy to pull the potatoes out, but as that straw breaks down, it feeds the soil, and the worms absolutely love it.
Yep.
So we're continuously feeding the soil as we're also growing in it.
Yep.
And so every year it's just going to continue to feed the soil. And like I said, we'll keep the birds in here to fertilize it, and then we'll come in and throw some alfalfa. And we're going to be putting a whole lot of comfrey, not only comfrey tea on it, but we're going to be putting a whole lot of comfrey leaves in it. It will break down over the winter, and that's going to feed the soil as well. So.
Yes. Now and I know I told the story last year, but when we first planted our potatoes in straw, our neighbor Larry and his brother Clifford were over, and we were pulling those up and just perfectly round. And they're just, Clifford is just smiling and shaking his head because, every year he has to plow. He plows to plant, and then he plows to dig them all back up. And his potatoes are, gnarled and, just because they're growing around rocks, which is normal. But the fact that they were in straw and we don't have to till or anything. Anyway, so that's the harvest for today. You can see our Bielefelder rooster is just going to town.
Yeah, the others will get in there soon too.
Yep. And yeah, so I think it's time to go get something to eat.
Yeah, it's good harvest though. I'm happy. Like I said, we had a better harvest last year, but with all the struggles this year, with the cold June, with the smoke, with the crazy weather, I'm really grateful and thankful to God that we got a decent harvest.
Yeah, and we do have 3 5-gallon buckets over here of potatoes and 3 bags of sweet potatoes, or vice versa, I think. Anyway.
Well, and I've already harvested some potatoes. There's some in the house, not a lot, and then you've got some in other places too. So.
Yeah. So
we still have more to dig.
When we dump those buckets out, we'll bring you along. I'm real curious. I'm guessing we're gonna have some potatoes with some rounded edges to them. But
turkeys are stupid.
They are. The gate's right there, wide open, and
they're stupid.
They can't find their way in.
No.
Anyway, all right. So
I think we're good.
If we didn't mention it, you can get a Hori Hori knife over on renewedhomestead.com, as well as your deodorant, comfrey root. Yeah, there's still time to plant comfrey root depending on where you are.
You're getting close to the end of the season though, so you're gonna if you want to plant comfrey root, you're gonna need to do it quickly.
Yeah, because we'll need to stop digging ours up because it'll be.
I need to get this stupid bird
good
around
luck.
there.
Good luck.
I just wanted to get her around. Poor thing, and she still didn't go the right way.
Walk right by the gate. So.
Oh, they're dumb.
They are. Let's see. So. I guess I don't have anything else for you.
So, all right. Harvest potatoes, cure potatoes. They'll be ready in a couple weeks, and then we'll store them just like we do every year.
Yeah, sure.
Until we get a root cellar built.
Yep. Yeah. It's on the list.
It's on the list.
All right. Well, as always, we're praying for you, and we appreciate your prayers and hope that you are well and preparing for whatever it is you feel that you need to prepare for. We'll leave it there.
Yes.
For this video, anyway. All right. Take care, everybody. God bless. We will see you on the next video.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.